Hello and welcome to Union Street Cooks. Today we are going to be making a comfort food classic, tomato soup with grilled cheese sandwiches on the side. We've got our mise en place all ready. We have about 1.5 pounds of Fresh Roma tomatoes, a large can of whole tomatoes, 1 whole red bell pepper, 2 carrots cut up into chunks. We got about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic there, and half of an onion that we're going to just leave in a big chunk as well. The spices are a tablespoon of brown sugar, a teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of black pepper, teaspoon of basil, and a half a teaspoon of celery salt and ground thyme. So to start, we have a 5-quart baking dish. This is the deep one. It will fit in the smaller one, but just so you make sure that you don't have any mistakes in the oven, the deeper one works a little better. So what we're going to do is we're going to start here. This is about 1/4 cup of olive oil and 1/4 cup of water. We're just going to put that in the bottom, just like that, to help the process get going. And then basically all we're going to do is just add all of our ingredients to this pan. It's very, very simple. Carrots. So our garlic just in there like that. And I think I'm going to cut this onion up in maybe 3 or 4 smaller chunks, just kind of like that. And then all of our spices just go right in on top. Give it a good shake to kind of settle stuff. And this is going to bake in a 350-degree oven for about an hour. Watch it at about 45 minutes and you'll start to see the skin on the bell pepper and the skin on some of the tomato start to brown and maybe even char a little. That's what we're looking for. When you see that, take it out of the oven. Okay, while the tomato soup is in the oven, let's go ahead and start the second component of this. You normally wouldn't do this until the soup has come out of the oven, but I want to go ahead and show you how to make the sandwiches. So we have a multigrain bread here, good and healthy, nice and sturdy bread. We've got regular mayonnaise. And we're just going to paint a little mayonnaise on the inside of the bread. These are the 2 inside sides that will be receiving the cheese earlier, and then we'll paint mayonnaise on the outside when we get ready to go into the skillet with them. And so we've got that ready to go. So here we just have regular sharp cheddar cheese, grated. You can grate your own, of course. This came from the store already pre-grated. If you're going to get the pre-grated, get the bigger, as you can see here, the bigger grades, not the super fine. So that's about 1.5 cups of grated cheese, and I've put about a tablespoon of mayonnaise in this to kind of help hold it together, and just a sprinkling of pepper to give it a little more flavor. So we're going to mix this up. Get the mayonnaise incorporated in there. We might put just a little more mayonnaise in here. You don't want to overpower it with the mayonnaise, but you do want enough mayonnaise in with the cheese to hold it together. The reason I don't like to use sliced cheese and prefer the shredded cheese is I think it melts better and you get a more uniform melt onto the sandwich. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to mound some of the cheese on top of the bread, just like this. Now this is the classic grilled cheese. Obviously let your imagination run wild and you can add anything you like to this. If you want to put a ham slice on here, knock yourself out. If you want to put some pesto with a different kind of cheese or a tapenade or any kind of flavored condiment that has a nice sharp flavor to it, that will stand up to the cheese, by all means you can do so. But today we're sticking with the classic. And the lovely jazz music you hear playing in the background is our own Mel Goot, who performed here a couple of weeks ago. If you haven't already, please check it out on YouTube. And there we go. There's the cheese on there. I don't think we've shorted anybody. Looks pretty even. And now we're going to take these to the stove. So now that we have the cheese on the sandwiches, we're going to just very gently bring them together like that. Give them a little bit of a mash. And you can see there's plenty of cheese on there. You might think, oh, that's too much cheese. Well, it's not. There's never too much cheese. Don't skimp, because obviously it's a great dairy. A lot of good protein in that sandwich right there. There we've got the sandwiches ready for the stove. So what we're going to do now, any loose cheese floating around there, get off of there. Again, we're going to go back to the mayonnaise and our brush and just paint a nice coating of mayonnaise on. Once you've grilled cheese like this, you will never go back to butter. The mayonnaise has a higher smoke point, so it's not going to burn as easily as a grilled cheese with butter. It's a very mild flavor. You're not going to think, ooh, that's going to taste like mayonnaise. It will not taste like mayonnaise, but it will give it a nice overall brown crust, which is what we're looking for. We have the stove on. We have a pan without anything in it. It is a Teflon pan. So we have the skillet on the stove. It's a little shy of medium. The pan has nothing in it, and you just go straight in with the sandwich just like that, and you'll hear it start to sizzle. While that is sizzling, go ahead and paint the other side with the mayonnaise. You can start to smell there's a stray piece of cheese burning on there. Once you start to see it get just a little brown around the edges, you can go ahead and flip it. And then you can see what a nice brown crust that has on it. Perfect grilled cheese sandwich. Now here is another little part that probably a lot of people don't think about. While the soup is still cooking, if you want to go ahead and make these up to this point, and then they're nice and brown on the outside, the mayonnaise does not make them soggy. You can put them, because the oven is still on, and it's still warm, you can take these sandwiches and put them in the oven to keep them just warm and the cheese all nice and melty. And you can see how nice and golden brown that gets. Again, it has a wonderful crunch to it. It does not get soggy like when you use butter. So in goes. Again, this is a pan without any fat in it. You put the grilled cheese directly onto the naked pan. And you can use any kind of pan. This happens to be a Teflon coated pan, which makes it easier. But if you enjoy cooking in cast iron, you could absolutely cook these sandwiches in cast iron with the same effect. And this should be about ready to flip as well. And there we have a nice golden brown color. And these are ready to go right to the table. But for now, since the soup is not ready, we're going to put them in the oven for just a few minutes to keep them warm while the soup finishes cooking. So our tomatoes and vegetables have been in the oven for about an hour and 15 minutes. So we're going to take a look and, oh yeah, they're definitely ready to come out. So you can see it's bubbling away. Everything has cooked through. And you can see there how the pepper skin and some of the tomato skins have started to blister up, and you can see a little brown there. So that's what we're looking for. So now all we're going to do is put it in a blender and blend it all up. Now, when you're doing this, you have to be very careful because this just came out of a 350-degree oven. And it is hot, and if you splash it on you, you will burn yourself. So proceed accordingly. The nice thing about a blender like this is you can put you didn't have to peel the tomatoes or anything, or the pepper. It just all goes in, and it will be all blended up, and you will never notice it in the soup. And I wish you could smell it right now because it smells absolutely delicious. And we do have that very, very full. So we're just going to leave the rest of that and maybe do something with that later. So we're just going to pulse this to get it started. So when we're blitzing this, what we're looking for is just to make sure that everything has been blended and you have a consistency. So it doesn't take very long because everything is very soft and already cooked. So we'll pulse it just a couple of more times. And that's it. So we're going to put in our Dutch oven here. And there you go. You can see it has a wonderful color. It has a nice thick consistency. There is a little, from the carrot and some of the tomato, there is body. It's not just mushy. So it's a lovely color. Nice and thick. At this point, if you're going to serve it from here, this particular batch is completely vegetarian. It does not have any animal or dairy products in it. We are going to add some cream to it later, but obviously if you do not want dairy in it, you can serve it just like this and it's absolutely delicious. Or if you wanted to put a non-dairy like soy or coconut milk in this, just swirled on the top, would be perfectly fine too and be just as tasty. So here we have it. A grilled cheese with tomato soup. We've added just a few pickles to the mix to kind of give a little acid to the richness of the soup and the cheese. Add a little more cream. Nice crunch on that. And then you can see it's all melted and gooey on the inside. And there you have it. Rejoice with your inner child. Tomato soup and a grilled cheese sandwich. Thanks for watching.